Hey team, sorry about that. Phone rang. It was ABC News. They wanted to know if they could use my name about ISIS. They're doing an ISIS thing tonight. Yeah, God forbid they should let me explain my side of the story. That's never going to happen. But that's not why I wanted to do another Facebook Live the second day in a row, because something so egregious, and what I warn about in my book, what I explain. I don't know if you've seen this campaign, this jihad, to rebrand Allahu Akbar. Okay, we saw this with the word jihad. If you recall, the terror group, the Hamas group CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, unindicted co-conspirators in the largest terrorist funding trial in our nation's history, the Holy Land Foundation trial, and how many of their leadership have been convicted of jihad terror-related crimes. But the media treat them like the Martin Luther King of the Muslim American community. Whatever. They had a campaign a couple years ago, My Jihad. They were rebranding the word holy war in the cause of Allah to something benign, like my jihad is making friends. My jihad is going to the gym. And of course, I did a campaign in response to that with using high-profile Muslims and their actual quotes. No editorializing. Of course, I was denied from running those ads, as you know, and in New York and in Washington. I had to sue, and I won. And so what happened after that is the cities enacted the Geller ban. Literally banned all political and cause-related ads because of little old me. That's why you have to read this book. Most people don't know that story, but I don't want to go into that. I want to talk about Allahu Akbar, which we are now being told is a beautiful phrase. We are being told by the New York Times, by CNN, by the Huffington Post, the lapdogs on the left doing the bidding of savage supremacists, that Allahu Akbar is really a beautiful thing, and that it's being smeared by, racist, Islamophobic, anti-Muslim bigots, and that its real roots are a beautiful and spiritual thing. And I have to tell you that of all the lies that they tell, and they tell enormous lies, Islam is a religion of peace, Nazism is a hard right ideology, even though it's a socialist ideology. This one is the big one. First of all, I want to say a couple things. Allahu Akbar is a supremacist declaration, which means Allah is greater. Greater than what? Greater than your God. That's the first thing. Second, let's talk about its roots, right? It was Muhammad's, and I'm not talking about Muhammad down the street. I'm talking about the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad's jihad war cry. That's what Allahu Akbar is. And that they are now purporting that it's some beautiful thing. It's the morning prayer, the morning call to prayer. Well, what is that? Let me tell you that when Muhammad left Mecca and began to spread Islam by the sword, before he would attack a village, he would wait until daybreak. Why? Because if he heard Muslims singing the call to prayer, he wouldn't attack. If he didn't hear Muslims singing the call to prayer, he would scream, rebel yell at, whatever your choice of war cry is, as he would slaughter, behead, rape, and pillage a village. So when you see the Hollywood jihadi, Saifullah, whose name means sword of Allah, running down pedestrians and innocent people, slamming into a school bus of special needs children, screaming Allahu Akbar, he is following Muhammad, who is the perfect example in Islam. When he's screaming Allahu Akbar, when Nidal Hassan was mowing down our soldiers and civilians in Fort Hood, he's emulating the perfect model, Muhammad. When Omar Mateen was mowing down nightclub revelers at the Pulse nightclub screaming Allahu Akbar, he was emulating Muhammad. When Omar Mateen called 911 and pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. What is the Islamic State? I love when the media, ISIS inspired, as if that's somehow different from inspired by Islam. How is that any different than being inspired? What is the Islamic State inspired by? Quranic texts and teachings. So this new whitewash of Allahu Akbar is just a Moab, a mother of all bombs in the war of ideas, in the information battle space. Listen to what I'm saying. After every jihad attack, are there any attempts to study the ideological roots of this war? No. What happens? Who are the real victims? The real victims are Muslims. 4 hours after the attack, NBC News runs the headlines, Muslims brace for backlash. Backlash that never happens. They've been doing this, pardon me, since 2001. They've been saying this since 2001. Backlash, fear of reprisals, Islamophobia. I mean, how many times have you heard that word in the past day or so? Any criticism of jihad terror that examines its ideological roots is called Islamophobia. The word is used to intimidate people into thinking there's something wrong with opposing jihad terror. But this is all we're getting. After jihad attacks, we get Sharia. Do not criticize Islam. Do not insult Islam. And they use the term of Islamophobia, which amounts to nothing more than the enforcement of Sharia in the marketplace of ideas. That's what Sharia is. And that's what Islamophobia is. You get Islamophobia, Sharia, and you get dawah. Dawah under Islam is proselytizing for Islam. Then we get lessons. After we're laying on the ground, bloody, shredded, limbs abound, we get lessons then in Islam, how it's peaceful and how, to oppose it, anyone who opposes it is a monster, like Geller, ooh, a monster. Yeah. Allahu Akbar is the jihadi war cry. You just keep posting that everywhere. You say enough. When Muhammad slaughtered an entire tribe of Jews, Khaybar, right? The Qurayza tribe, he waited. He didn't hear the call to prayer. He went in, and who did he attack? He didn't attack soldiers. He didn't attack fighters. The Jewish people were coming out to go to work with their plowshares and their seeds and whatever they did in that year, 600, whatever. And that's who he beheaded and slaughtered. 800 boys, men. And, well, didn't do the little boys. He checked the pubic hair. And if the boys had pubic hair, they got beheaded. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. And, oh, that's right. And we're not allowed to depict him. We're not allowed to show him. We have to revere him. I'm shaking you. I am begging you. I am shaking you. This machine of disinformation and propaganda is so enormous that it's up to you. Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to me. Yeah, get the book because it's an act of protest. Get the book because it's an act of defiance against the Sharia. But everywhere you see this crap, Allahu Akbar is a celebration of life. Okay, so we're supposed to believe that when Muslims say this, knowing full well that it was Muhammad's jihad war cry, that they're being peaceful, I'm not buying it. They're saying, the call to prayer in the morning is saying, I'm a Muslim. I'm the best of all people. Don't kill me. Next town over. That's what Allahu Akbar means. My God is better than your God. Boom! Unbelievers. So I had to tell you that because I write it and I realize now that the videos, these FaceTime videos really get so much more action. It's not my bailiwick. I'm going to tell you, I like to write. I like to, it's like my living room, my website, gellerreport.com. And if you're not subscribing, shame on you because it's free. And it gives you the news the media won't cover. You're not going to find what Allahu Akbar really means because according to Jake Tapper, it's a beautiful phrase. And Linda Sarsour, the pro-Sharia, pro-terror, vicious Jew hater who was named one of Glamour magazine's, oh yeah, she's really glamorous and really gorgeous. One of their whatever women of the year, she says that I say that every day and it's beautiful and don't criminalize the saying and prosecute the criminal. He's not a criminal. This is a war. Okay, it's time to declare war on the jihadic doctrine. It's time to go to my 18-point platform. AFDI, Google it. AFDI 18-point platform for freedom and defense of freedom. I wrote years ago, no foreign funding of mosques. Terror-tied mosques, like in Boston, Arizona, Columbus, Virginia should be investigated, and shut if they're preaching and inciting to jihad. It is an enemy ideology, and it must be stopped. What are we doing? What's the response? You want to know what the response is here in New York to the Halloween jihad? They're putting up barricades. Why don't we just get in a fetal position, okay, and wait to die? They're putting up barricades. We're still taking our shoes off because Richard Reed had a shoe bomb in 2001. This is why we're losing the war. Barricades. Mayor de Blasio is up for election next week, and if he wins, whatever happens in New York, I don't want to hear about it. This man, and I won. I had a site, redbill.com. He was campaigning on dismantling counterterror initiatives, and he won. And one of his initiatives was to dismantle this program where this mosque, for example, Omar Mosque, who was Seyfullah's mosque, the Halloween jihadis mosque, was being investigated. There were 20 jihadis, dangerous jihadis in that mosque. He stopped that program. If Mayor de Blasio hadn't stopped that program, would those people be alive? Why is the media asking that question instead of telling us how gorgeous Allahu Akbar is? I am very angry. I am angry those people are dead. You watch that video I have on my site of the school bus, the children, the special needs children trapped. Jake Tapper, CNN, MSNBC, it's that attack, who said that attack was anti-Islamic. They are just as savage and evil and ugly. Because the jihadis really believe in what they're doing. Muhammad did it. It's righteous. Waging jihad in the cause of Islam by the sword or the gun or the truck is righteous. They believe in what they're doing. That's why he's so happy in his hospital bed. Did you see him? He wants to raise the flag of the Islamic State. And by the way, it's not the flag of the Islamic State. It's the black flag of jihad. And what you see, that Arabic writing, is the prayer that all Muslims say. There is only one God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. You say that 3 times. Don't say it 3 times in a row, because that's how you convert. You say that, the Shahada, 3 times in a row, which, by the way, they're teaching to your children in the school. They're not teaching the Lord's Prayer. They're teaching your children the Shahada in the public school. You say that 3 times, you're a Muslim. And let me tell you something. You can't leave. It's like the Roach Motel. Once you go in, you can never go out. But I can't impress upon you enough, because this campaign, it's wild. I mean, the timing of my book, couldn't be more perfect. It gives you the glasses in which to see. It gives you the glasses in which to see. The response to every jihad attack is not the motive. Why are they doing it? It's every day now in Europe. You don't get that in the media. You don't get the daily acts of jihad. France is at war. They have their army deployed on the streets. Nobody's talking about that. But if you subscribe to the Geller Report, you would know that, GellerReport.com. It's free. I'll say it again. Why am I telling you this? Because this is how we're going to win the war. You're going to read the articles. You're going to say, wow, I didn't know that. I got to tell my friend Jim that. And you're going to send it to him an email, and you're going to post it to social media, and you're going to post it to Facebook. And I know they're trying to close us down on social media. Who knows better than me? They have shut me down in every which way but loose. But you know what? I'm not ceding the field, and neither should you. We're going to build an army. You're the army. I'm the army. Together we're going to win. We're going to win because we're right and we're righteous. Allahu Akbar. Here's a quiz. Here's the quiz. Right. Oh, Antifa. Somebody said, I never look at the comments. I should. I'm sorry. Antifa. Antifa, again, ironically, here we go with word games, means anti-fascist. Antifa is the embodiment of fascism. You will see tomorrow, November 4th, again, this axis of evil, the leftist Islamic alliance. The media will not report on it. Do not expect to get the news on Antifa here. Antifa was labeled a terrorist group by the Germans, and they ought to know terror. Back in the 1970s, this is a vicious, violent, autocratic, totalitarian, evil group, and they mean to do evil tomorrow. So I'm telling you, you have to come to sites like mine and my colleagues to get the real news. Today, the question is not put the news on. There's news all over the place and propaganda en masse. Who you choose to edit your news, that's the question. And it's got to be me. I have a 16-year record. I stand on every post is there. Everything I've ever done. Everything I've ever done is in my book. Because, yeah, it's my story, how I live under a 24-hour death threat. and I need 24-hour security because I stand in defense of freedom. This is 21st century America. But you know what? It's your story. It's the story of every American, in large and small ways. What happened to me happens to every American who stands in defense of freedom. Well, you stand. And the more they throw at you, the taller you stand. You hear me? We're reaching a tipping point. This attack, to me, the immediate response of fear of backlash. Fear of backlash. Okay, so here's the headline. Muslims fear backlash. Why isn't the headline, American Muslims unite and demand that mosques institute programs to teach against the Quranic texts and hadith that incite to jihad? There is not one program in one mosque that's teaching this. Not one. Does the media ever ask that question? Does the media ever demand an answer? Does the media ever discuss the ideological roots of this war, this long war, and which will go on, this protracted war? This is not 1945. It's not going to end like a Bewitched sitcom, 30 minutes or whatever it is. That's what I watched when I was a kid. I don't have time for that now. You know what I mean? It's not going to be over at the half hour. This is a long, protracted war. The long march. You know, they march for a long time. Let me tell you something. Nothing just happens. Things are made to happen. When President Bush got up before the world, went to the mosque 1 week after September 11th, 2001, and standing on both of his sides were Muslim Brotherhood groups, named as Muslim Brotherhood groups, terror-tied groups that funded Hamas. Nihad Awad, the notorious Jew hater, okay, was standing to his left. ISNA was there. All the Muslim Brotherhood groups were there. And he said, Islam is a religion of peace. You think that just happened? This was years in the making. We've been under siege for decades. Here's the thing. In closing, I want you to remember what I'm about to tell you. On September 11th, the ringleader of the 9/11 jihad attack, Mohammed Atta, said to the passengers on the plane that was headed to the World Trade Center, stay quiet and you'll be okay. Stay quiet and you'll be all right. And that's exactly what they're telling you now. They're telling you to stay quiet and you'll be all right. And I am here to tell you, if you stay quiet, you will not be all right. I am here to tell you they are counting on your complacency. They're counting on your apathy. They are counting on your empathy. You gave it to them. You gave it to them for 20 years. It's enough. You've got to fight back. And they call you names. Remember, we're living in an age where good is evil and evil is good. So when they call you evil names, what they're saying is to you is, you're delicious. You're fabulous. You're good. And on that note, I'm going to leave you with that. Allahu Akbar, Muhammad's jihad war cry. He would wait at daybreak to hear if he heard it. If he heard it, he wouldn't attack the village. It's pure war. Every jihadi is emulating Muhammad, the perfect model. So don't tell me that I can't draw him. And don't tell me I can't show him. And don't tell me I have to respect him. And this Islamophobia, remember, it's a Sharia device designed to silence any criticism of Islam. There is no Islamophobia. I'm sure you saw today, Islamophobia is at record levels. Anti-Jewish hate crime is 4 or 5-fold everybody else. There's the Secretariat of Hate Crime. Who talks about it? Nobody. This is all a campaign to disarm you in the information battle space. This is where the war is right now. The book, Fatwa, Hunted in America, is the fight. It's every fight I had. The lawsuit, the Ground Zero Mosque, Rifka Barry, everything's in there with pictures. You have a role. What did you do today to save the Republic? Demand, leave comments on these news sites. Take out Jake Tapper on Twitter. Let me tell you something. They are very thin-skinned. They can't take it. You know why? They're never challenged. Me, I got the skin of an alligator. There's nothing, really. Nothing you can say to me Nothing. Because A, I know I'm right. I know my ideas are better. My ideas of individual rights, my idea of freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, individual rights, and equality for all before the law. My ideas will win in the war of ideas. My ideas are better, which is why they won't debate me, which is why they have to monsterize me. They have to make me into a monster because people will not listen to the message of a monster. Anyway, if you go to your bookstore, and I've heard already, I know this already, people, a number of people, 6 or 7 people have gone to bookstores, and the book they say is in the back. They haven't gotten it out yet. If you go to your bookstore, say, I want a fatwa. Listen, if we all have a fatwa on our heads, they can't kill us all. Get the book. Take a picture of the book on the shelf. If you take a picture of my book on a shelf in a bookstore, you will get an unbelievably gorgeous movie poster that I'm not even selling. I made a few up for me. And you know it's a brilliant ad, yeah, if I say so myself, but I can't take credit for it because I was inspired by Hitchcock. And thank you, Big Fur Hat, for helping me execute that idea. You'll get a beautiful autographed copy of a glossy, is it 21, it's a real movie poster. I will send you one. Or a big poster of my book. I don't know if you want a poster of Pammy G. It's okay if you don't. I'm just saying you could have one or the other. Also autographed. If you send a picture of the book on a shelf. Why am I doing this? Because Barnes & Noble, yeah, we got into the bookstores. They're not putting the book on the shelf. These clowns just don't stop. They're unbelievable. Remember, fight. Every time you hear something wrong, don't stay silent. I know you do. I know you go into the bakery to get whatever it is you get. I personally like from Walls, those bells, the chocolate bells, so delicious. And the person next to you saying stuff, even about Trump, what, I don't care. Don't stay silent. They count on your silence. Open your mouth. And Thanksgiving, with those liberal relatives of yours, give it as good as they give it. Because they have nothing. They have nothing. They have no... Their premise is false. You can shred them. If you don't know how to shred them, read the book. The book teaches you how to shred them. Now, maybe I'll do these more often, but when I saw something this egregious, I mean, it's one after another. CNN, Huffington Post, 2 days in a row, New York Times, scrubbing, they got out that Clorox, scrubbing that Allahu Akbar. But you know what? When there was a plot to behead me, they called me, said, we heard there was a plot to behead you. Do you know that to be a fact? I said, well, CNN called me. They said, did law enforcement tell you? I said, no, they never reported that an American was targeted in a beheading plot by a Muslim group. They never reported that. And you know what? Last week, the leader of that group, David Dawood Wright, was convicted on all charges of that beheading plot. And the New York Times still didn't report it. They're too busy scrubbing that Allahu Akbar. Okay, go to work. Love you guys.
We will make America great again.